Hello friends, how are you all doing? Myself Anurag Sharma, and in today's video we shall learn about missile technology, one of the very interesting topic of defense tech. This video would be beneficial for those aspirants who are preparing for UPSC or other states civil services. So let's start the class. First of all, we will try to learn about missile. Like, what's a missile? So missile can be identified as an explosive weapon utilized by a country or any other group to hit its target or to hit its enemy, or we can select target. Okay, this one here, this one is a picture of a missile in a landscape format, where you will see that for the precision level, for the higher precision level, a missile can be divided into multiple chambers. But before coming on this picture, we will try to figure out a missile. You must have seen, all of you must have seen the firecrackers or the sky shots, which are generally we generally light during the period of Deepavali. A missile or the technological specifications of a missile could be considered or could be compared with such kind of sky shots or the rockets, but obviously the size as well as the precision level of a missile would be way bigger and very bigger than crackers, obviously. Here we will see that multiple chambers are there in the missile to get and to achieve its a higher precision level. For example, spikers are there, fuel engine is there, propellant chamber is there, control system is there. Along with that, the very important and one of the key ingredient of the missile would be warhead chamber, where we would try to put some certain explosive materials that will ultimately blast during the period of hitting a target. Here we will see the overall components of a missile. From the point of view of examination, from the point of view of UPSC examination, we can divide all the chambers of missile into total 4 parts, namely engines, propulsion, control chamber as well as warhead. Okay, although multiple chambers, multiple sectors are there of a missile, but from the point of view of examination, we can divide all these chambers into 4 bigger categories, namely engines, propulsion, control chamber, and the last but not the least, warhead. In this video, we will try to learn each and every part, each and every chamber of a missile in a detail. Okay, so let's start. First, we will try to understand about the engines. You must have heard about the engine, that engine works upon the principle of thrust, especially when we talk about the aerodynamics or when we talk about the aerial vehicle. You will see that most of the engines work upon the principle of thrust. As far as we will provide the thrust to the engine, it will go further away from the surface of the earth, and for that conventionally we utilize 2 types of engine, namely jet engine and rocket engine. The first picture what you are seeing right now on the screen, this one is the picture of rocket engine, and this one, which is a hollow structure from the frontal part, is a structure of jet engine. How we will try to understand, how will we get that, what's the basic difference? We can easily identify, a layman can easily identify the difference between these 2 engines. Like, for example, when an engine is completely covered from the frontal side, when an engine is completely packed from the frontal side, there is no space for the air to go inside the chamber, then such engine is known as rocket engine. Such engine would be identified or known as rocket engine. While when the frontal part of the engine is completely hollow or the open from the front, which can easily grab the air, such engine is known as jet engine. This is a very layman definition of these 2 categories of engine. I am repeating this one. When we will see that there is a completely packed structure, completely covered structure from the frontal side, such engine would be treated or identified as rocket engine, while when there is a hollow structure or the open structure from the frontal side, such engine would be identified as jet engine. This is very basic definition. Now we will see the technical specification from the point of view of exam. So when we talk about the rocket engine, you will see that before the technical specification, I will, we can say like I will refurbish, I will brush up a particular facts of you guys, what you have learned earlier there in the NCERTs of 5th of 6th class perhaps. And the concept is air, especially oxygen is required for combustion. Oxygen is required for combustion, or oxygen is required to burn a fuel. You must have heard this concept earlier. Okay, there is a kind of like we can say like there is an experiment there in the classes where we lit a particular candle and then covered it with the glass, and then after some period of time, then ultimately that particular candle would be completely passed off and all. So that's a concept of air, that's a concept of oxygen which is required for the combustion of fuel. So same concept would be identified here to differentiate between these two engines, and this concept is known as air breathing system. This concept is known as air breathing system. What does that mean? Air breathing means air breathing. Air breathing means the air is going to be grabbed by a particular engine from atmosphere. When air is grabbed by an engine from the atmosphere, such technology, such system is known as air breathing system. So if a particular engine is based on technology of air breathing, then such engines are known as what? Such engines are known as jet engine. But if the engine is not based on the air breathing and it is carrying its own oxidizer along with its fuel, such engines are known as rocket engine. Technologically, we can say when a particular engine is carrying the oxidizer along with its fuel there in the fuel chamber to burn the fuel and to get the proper ample amount of the thrust, such engines are known as rocket engine. And when there is only fuel situated there in the fuel chamber of an engine and it will grab oxygen from the atmosphere in order to make combustion possible and in order to get the ample amount of thrust, such engines are known as jet engine. That is one of the basic definition of science and technology here. To differentiate engines. Okay, now another one concept, when we talk about the rocket engine, as it is carrying in its own oxidizer, it has no limit to travel. It means a rocket engine can go beyond the surface of atmosphere. A rocket engine can go beyond the limits of the atmosphere. It can travel there in the exosphere and then ultimately hit the target near the surface. This is the possibility, this is the beauty of rocket engine. But when we talk about the jet engine could be speedier than rocket engine, but jet engine has a limit that it can achieve the target, it can achieve the height or altitude of up to 55 to 75 kilometers from the surface of Earth. And the reason being, after the distance of 75 kilometers from the surface of Earth, you will see that the atmosphere is going thinner, and in that condition there is a scarcity of oxygen which is required for the jet engine, especially to burn its combustion, especially to run its combustion. And that is why we can say that there is a limit of jet engine. It cannot travel beyond the boundaries of atmosphere. It has to be limited there within the atmosphere. Reason? It has to grab the oxygen from the atmosphere. You must have, I personally believe that this concept should be clear there in your mind. I am repeating the whole concept of this. Rocket engine is that one which is completely packed from the frontal side. Along with that, it will carry its own oxidizer along with the fuel for the combustion process, and it can go beyond the boundaries of the atmosphere and travel most of the part there in the exosphere. This is the beauty of rocket engine. While jet engine has some certain limitations, jet engine can go there within the limit of 55 to 75 kilometers from the surface of the Earth. And the reason is jet engine is completely based upon the technology of air breathing, which has to grab the oxygen from the atmosphere to run its combustion. And jet engines are those which are comparatively speedier, and that is why we calculate the speed of the jet engine in the Mach. Mach means 1 Mach is equal to the speed of sound in the air, and this is the kind of, like we can say, standard to identify the speed of a jet engine. So subsonic, supersonic, hypersonic, these are the limits, these are the, we can say, categories of the jet engines speed. While when we talk about the rocket engine, so as we have seen that rocket engines are those that can go beyond the limits of the atmosphere, and most of the part of its journey remains there in the exosphere. So such exosphere, and that is why you will see that rocket engines are based on re-entry technology. Rocket engines are based on re-entry technology. What is re-entry? First, after launching, first they will cross the limits of atmosphere. Beyond the boundary of the atmosphere they will go, and then remain there in the exosphere till near the target. They will again enter there into the atmosphere and ultimately achieve its target here. So we can say that most of the long distance missiles are based on rocket engine, while most of the shorter distance missiles are based on jet engine. This is the very basic specification. Along with that, you will see one more fact, that this category, this path or trajectory of a missile is known as parabolic, while this path, which is a comparatively shorter than parabolic, is known as elliptical. This elliptical path is followed by a jet engine, while in case of rocket engine, it has to follow the trajectory of parabolic, and that is why it can hit the target situated at the longer distance. And this is one of the basic reason that in most of the ICBM stands for intercontinental ballistic missiles. In most of the ICBM, we equipped ICBM with rocket engine, which is far better from the point of view of distance, while for speedier, hitting the target, or we can say to hit the target with the higher precision level, we required the jet engine. This is the specification. So this should be there in your mind. There are two types of engines, rocket and jet. Rocket engine for longer distance, jet engine for smaller distance. Now here comes the another chamber called propellant chamber. Here comes the another chamber called propulsion chamber. Propellant or propulsion chamber. Propulsion chamber is that one where we are going to utilize fuel, and as per the need, fuel can be of these following categories. One is fuel can be of these following categories. Here we will see that one of the very basic category of the fuel is solid, and in the solid form of fuel we utilize HTPB, hydroxyl terminated polybutadiene. Along with that, we utilize powder of sulfur to provide the thrust or to provide the fuel to the engine. In the form of liquid engine, which is known as Vikas for ISRO. Vikas is the name of liquid engine for the ISRO. In the form of liquid engine, we utilize the fuel of unsymmetrical dimethyl hydrazine. So there are two fuels which are required from the point of view of exam, especially in the mains. You can write the name of these two fuels. One is HTPB, hydroxyl terminated polybutadiene, and the another one is USDH, unsymmetrical dimethyl hydrazine. These are the two fuels which are utilized especially by the conventional missiles. One is solid, another one is liquid. Third one is hybrid. Hybrid basically is a kind of model where we are utilizing two or more stages of a fuel. Let's say, for example, in the first stage we will use solid, and then in the second stage we will use liquid fuel. Such kind of model could be identified as hybrid model. Third one is aerosols. Most of the gases found on the earth are utilized as a fuel there in the aerosol structure, and one of the basic example of the aerosol can be hydrogen along with oxygen. Nitrogen is there. These are the examples of the aerosol. And the last but not the least are the gases, which can be utilized in the different forms as a fuel or the propulsion there in the chamber. These are the propulsion system. Now here comes the another chapter, we can say like chamber called control chamber. See, when a missile is going to be launched from the launching station, and when it will achieve the target, This one could be a longer distance, and to follow this longer distance with a higher precision level, we required control system, we required control chamber. Let's say for example, if a missile is going to hit the target which is moving continuously, in that condition that particular missile has to change its direction, has to change its, we can say like path again and again, and for such kind of system we required control system or control chamber. In the form of control, we can say that these are some certain categories of the control chamber or the control system which are utilized, which are required in a particular missile. First of all, the first one is internal guidance. When we equipped a particular missile with speedometer, acceleratometer or gyrometer, such kind of missiles are known as internal or internal guidance control system missiles. For example, when we are going to control the speed of a missile with the speedometer, or to increase the speed of the missile we are utilizing acceleratometer, such kind of missiles are known as internal guidance based missile. Second category is known as external guidance. External means the guidance will be provided by the ground station, which is like, which is situated on the earth and directly controlling by giving the command, and such system is known as external guidance system. In India, we can say we utilize radar, we utilize satellites, in India we utilize radar, satellite, laser and IR, infrared systems for the external guidance. Infrared system for the internal guidance, laser system, satellite system and the radar for the higher precision level. You must have heard about the satellite of India called NAVIC, which is almost equivalent to GPS of the USA, and this NAVIC is utilized to control the missile externally. Third category is known as wire guidance. In the conventional missiles, before the launching, in the conventional missile, those missiles are equipped with a wire which has to take the signals from the missile, which has to take the signal from the ground station directly. Such system is known as wired guidance. You must have seen the car and there is an antenna over the car which is required to get the signals of FM. Almost same system is followed there in the missile to grab or to catch the signals coming from the ground station. Such system is known as wire guidance, which was utilized earlier there in the conventional missiles. Third one is the command guidance. Command guidance is almost same as the external guidance, and in today's world, command guidance is completely based upon GPS system. GPS means Global Positioning System, and in the India, the name of local GPS is NAVIC, Navigation with Indian Constellation. Next one is terrain comparison, TERCOM. TERCOM is a technology which is especially utilized by the cruise missile. Cruise missiles are those having, one feature of cruise missiles are those having jet engine, and second one, cruise missiles are those which has a higher precision level, and in order to achieve the higher precision level we require terrain comparison or TERCOM missiles which utilized maps of a particular territory, which utilize the higher precision level of higher precision, we can say like spatial information of a particular territory to hit the target with the higher precision level and zero error. And the last but not the least, inertial guidance. Inertial guidance is almost same as internal guidance, where speedometer, acceleratometer are required. So these are the control system. And the last but not the least is warhead chamber or warhead system. What is warhead? Warhead is an explosive material. What is warhead? It would be an explosive material utilized to blast or to hit the target or to kill the target of enemy set by a particular country or a group. Initially, when we talk about the evolution of such system, so you will see that initially there is a category called conventional warhead, and conventional warheads were those which were utilized by most of the countries during the First World War or Second World War. Let's say for example, you must have heard about RDX. RDX stands for Research and Department Explosive. TNT, Tri-Nitrotoluene, Tri-Nitroglycerin. These are some certain examples of conventional warheads utilized by conventional missiles there in the earlier phases of missile. Right now we can say that these are the categories of non-conventional warhead. Non-conventional means which are modern in nature. And out of all these non-conventional warheads, you will see one of the important is nuclear warhead. Nuclear warheads are those which are based on nuclear fission, which are based on nuclear fission or fusion technology, fusion reaction to hit the target or to kill the target. Nuclear warheads are utilized by most of the countries including India. India is one of the countries that will never use chemical or biological weapon, and the reason being India has joined Convention on Chemical Weapon and Convention on Biological Weapon, and that's why India is one of the signatory member of Convention on Chemical and Biological Weapon, and that is why India has no, we can say like, right to produce or make or use such warheads which are based on biological or chemical technology. Okay, what are the chemical warheads? Chemical warheads could be acids. These chemical warheads can be any kind of poisonous gas. These chemical weapons could be any kind of thing, any kind of chemical which is required to kill, which is required for mass destruction or to kill a particular population at a vast level. Such kind of chemicals are known as chemical warhead. You must have heard a name. You must have heard the name of a gas called phosgene, sarin, cyclosarin, all mustard gas. All these fall under the category of chemical weapons. Although chemicals weapon can further divided into three categories, namely blister agent, pulmonary agent and nerve agent. Blister agents are those chemicals which are directly associated with the skin of a person that would create the irritation or we can say like burn the skin of a person. Such kind of chemical weapons are known as blister agent, BLISTER, blister agent. The second category called pulmonary agents. Pulmonary agents are those that directly hit the pulmonary system, or we can say the respiration system of a human body. Such gases, such poisonous gases and such chemicals are known as pulmonary agent. And the last but not the least called nerve agent, that will ultimately impact or hit the nervous system of human beings. Such chemicals are known as nerve agents. These are the categories. And the next one is biological weapon. Biological weapons are those which are pathogen, or we can say like small microbes which are utilized at the vast level to spread the disease over a particular territory or the area, and would ultimately impacted as epidemic, pandemic, or kind of like a disease. Such weapons are known as biological weapon. It is considered and identified by most of the countries including USA that COVID virus that began from particular country called China was one of the biological weapon used by China against the world. Okay, and the last but not the least is the tandem. Tandem warhead is nothing but a category of a warhead where a particular warhead, either conventional or non-conventional, is utilized in multiple stages. When there is multiple detonators, to utilize a warhead into multiple categories at the multiple stages, such kind of warhead is known as tandem warhead. Let's say for example, I have a bar of nuclear weapon of 5 kg and I'm going to divide it into 5 parts to scatter this particular material at 5 different places. In that condition, we will utilize multiple detonators, and such warhead system is known as tandem warhead system. So this is the overall know-how of a particular missile. We have seen that missile has total 4 chambers, namely engines, propulsion, control and warhead. In the engine we have seen that there are 2 categories, rocket and jet engine. In the propulsion system we have seen that multiple propulsion categories are there, namely solid, for which we required HTPB, hydroxyl terminated polybutadiene. For the liquid we required unsymmetrical dimethyl hydrogen, and third hybrid is a combination of solid and liquid, then the aerosol and gases which are utilized as a fuel. In the third point, we have seen the control chamber, where we have seen internal, external, then the command guidance, then we have seen inertial and TERCOM, terrain comparison system, which is utilized by cruise missiles. And the last we have seen warhead. Conventional and non-conventional 2 categories of the warhead are there, and in the conventional we have seen some certain words called TNT, trinitrotoluene, trinitroglycerin, RDX, research and department explosives. Apart from that, we have seen non-conventional, namely nuclear, biological and chemical warheads. And the last but not the least, we have seen tandem warhead. Tandem is nothing but a category of the warhead where we have to utilize explosive material into multiple parts, into multiple segregation, so that we can scattered it at a multiple places. Such kind of system is known as tandem, and this is the overall picture of a missile. I hope you would like the video. Thank you so much for watching, and in this series, from the next part, now we will try to understand the classifications of missiles. Classification of the missiles means there are multiple classifications of the missile. We will see that in the next video. If you like my video, please subscribe my channel, like and share. Thank you. Thank you so much.